back. We want to get real here for a second. Do you trust the media? And on the flip side, how do we in the media earn and maintain that trust?
These are some of the questions that have really come to light over the course of the presidential election. And then President Donald Trump, he has been very honest himself that he doesn't trust the mainstream media. At one point, he actually tweeted that he called us the opposition party. He's been very outspoken about all of this. So we want to try to dive a little deeper into this and have a conversation because we want to know what can we in the media be doing better, or are we? What's our role in the media to cover this new administration?
Yeah, we want to help all of us in this. Andrea Otana Sather is a lecturer with the University of Washington and is here to break down the current reality that we're all in. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Sure.
We know this is a very complicated topic, but just to start, what is the role of media in politics, and what can we be doing to be more transparent in the way we cover it?
Well, I appreciate that question. I appreciate being here because I think this is a really important issue. I think that, we need to be doing what we've always been doing in the journalism field, and that is getting to some basics on reporting what is accurate, verifiable, transparent practices in our reporting. And there is a lot of bad news out there. There's no question. News that's irresponsible. And a lot of times, though, it's based on the medium in which it seems irresponsible, but it actually isn't. It has to do with the medium in which the news is being transmitted. And people need to understand the limitations of the medium. That might help.
Interesting.
We have dropped the ball, really, in as the media, if you can identify us in that way. So what kind of things, do people who have real serious criticism of us have a point? Are they right?
Sure. I do think there's some bad journalism out there. There's no question. But I think it's incumbent upon viewers and readers of journalism to know a little bit about the processes of journalism and also to take in different forms of media rather than relying on only one. For example, if all you do is get short bits off of Facebook, that's a little irresponsible for as a news consumer, right? It's incumbent upon news consumers to look at that bit of information and think, well, wait a minute, let me go verify that. And if you can't verify it, don't retweet it, right? Don't add to the problems out there. Don't add to the fake news ecosystem. But it's also incumbent upon us in the industry to understand what we need to do to help people get good information. The New York Times a couple of months ago, put out sort of an overview of what they're going to do in the coming year. And part of it involves simplifying. We need to help people understand what's going on. We need to have transparent handles for them, such as at the top of news stories, here's what's new. Here's what you can expect today. Here's what's going to happen in a week or whatever. Just really transparent handles. So then if people have time, they could read the rest of the story. If they don't, they get what is most important at that moment.
It feels, from what you're saying, it feels like there are a couple of issues, and if I'm completely off base, this is an open forum, so you can tell me I'm wrong. It sounds like sometimes headlines go the way of trying to draw people into the middle of the story, and in doing so can sometimes miss the fact, which is what it sounds like you're saying. Instead of putting just at the top, this is what's new, this is what's next, they pick something sensational, and it draws people in, and then people don't read the rest of the story. And also it sounds like there are so many pundits now. There are so many opinion pieces and opinion leaders in the media, which are great, except for when people confuse that with, well, is this supposed to be unbiased, or is this person's opinion?
That is such a good point. There's such a good point. And I think this is where we in the news media have failed readers over time, readers and viewers. I know there's not just the print media. And it's really, really important for us to true up our sails. We need to say, this is opinion, this is news, this is analysis, and help educate our readers what that means. When you look at something on Facebook, it has been uprooted from its context at the New York Times. It's uprooted. I don't know if it's analysis or opinion in Facebook. And I don't know, for instance, the Washington Post, some of their political news says the fix. What is the fix? Is that analysis? What is that?
What does that mean?
Right. So make it really clear in our stories. This is what this is. And I also think we've done a disservice to readers because we have allowed voice or opinion to come into news. And we as practitioners know, wait, no, this is based on authority. I'm a really good reporter. I know all this stuff. But our readers don't know that, especially because these pieces are being lifted up out of the news context and put into somebody's feed not connected to the whole context of the Washington Post or the New York Times.
What about local news? I mean, like, look, selfishly, we do local news. How important is local news? We become a really nationalized country. Is there a place for local news anymore?
I really appreciate you asking that question as well, because local news is a hugely important part of our news ecosystem as citizens in this country. And if we live up here in 30,000 foot of New York Times and national politics, we're missing the stuff that really, really affects us up close. And so that is also incumbent upon viewers and readers to pay attention locally as well, because in some respects, that's where they can have some of the most effect most immediately. And, you know, newsrooms are shrinking. And so I think it's one of those things that people are going to be sorry when we're gone, right? So it's really important to support them. And there are a lot of really great journalists out there. And it's important for readers and viewers to find them and support them and stick with them.
This has been eye-opening. I appreciate you being willing to kind of dive in and talk about it in a very real way, because I think so many times people say it's fake news, and then the media says, no, we're not. And that doesn't we need to accept that that's what some people think, and how can we work together to make it better? Thank you so very much. Really appreciate it. Andrea Otanes-Sather with the University of Washington, and we would love to have you back.
Okay, thank you.
There's going to be a lot to talk about.